Hey guys, hey, we're gonna do an Astro Chat. Put you in the pocket for now. And this is gonna be a relatively short Astro Chat because the phone is very low. So here we go. We'll chat a bit about the current transit, Pluto retrograde, and right now we also have Jupiter at 29 degrees of Pisces about to go into Aries, about to shift signs. The past life energy right now is truly wicked intense. There are a lot of, I'm seeing like rings of timelines of energies that we're moving through, we're purging, and these are themes, thematic energies that we've decided perhaps once and for all to part ways with. Restructuring, reorganizing, reprioritizing, realizing what our values, our goals, our mantras really are, and eliminating the scaffold around that space. With intensity of our truth at the core of the conversation. So it's about getting really direct and actually directing the energy itself towards what we know we also wish to experience and we deserve, and that is a space of realization, clarity, actualization, reintegrating the source code that reminds you that you're a creator, and encouraging that in everything that you do and with everyone that you interact with. So this is about really purging anything that holds your shadow above light, okay? Anything that disempowers you, makes you feel that your power is not present with you at all times. It is. Power is not conditional. It is unconditional. And it is always a matter of how you perceive whether or not it's there, which is why the connection that you have in the synastry that you have, the symmetry you have with your subconscious is so important, and to have your own values set by yourself so that you are making decisions that are in alignment with your subconscious, because that is where your power is truly at. That is where you truly be powerful, when you are fully in alignment, observing the truth of what you also wish to create. Because when it is authentic, it is already informed. So the weirdest thing I've ever seen right there is a shoe, and it was black and turquoise. It was a shoe, and it had the symbol of a Mercedes on the back of it. I've never seen a Mercedes shoe. That's very strange, but yeah, on the floor there. Anyways, I would film it, but yeah. So this is about priorities. This is about also realizing like the subtle ways in which we have sort of not been one with our own mantra, where it's been like, is this like what somebody else thinks? Is this what somebody else wants me to believe? Is this, is this real? Is it truly me? Is it authentic? And you can only answer that. That's not something that, a tarot reader or a so-called healer or anybody can tell you, because that is you. That is your power. That is your knowingness. And the way to determine that is, are you happy? That is the simplest way to understand whether or not you are fully acting from a space of authenticity, of honesty, is, are you actually happy? Do you feel like you are in alignment? Just make sure we're still on. Yeah, great. So it is about at every step and stage of the process, and that doesn't mean having a reason for why you're doing such things, certain things in your life. It's not about reasons here. We're talking about intention of the spirit, of the soul, and being aligned with that. It is about alignment, and true alignment is not psychological understanding or psychological so-called alignment. True alignment is about feeling like a creator, because that is the truth of what you are, and everyone's creator within themselves is its own story, is different. And that's why nobody can tell you exactly how to be the creator that you can be, right? That's why no one can really tell you for you also whether or not you're being honest with yourself, whether or not something is true for you. Sometimes the trouble is we know something doesn't align, but our rational mind seeks to understand how that space of misalignment, should we release it, should we move on from it, could actually recontextualize. And that's the illusion, is that it is not something that we create a space for to live within. It's something that is already. We're not in charge of the process of becoming a creator. We're not in charge of the process of defining what, again, that means and where it will be, most real. And it's just releasing what doesn't allow us to just already be in that state and just realize the height of our potential. And that's an emotion, that is an energy, that is a feeling free, sovereign, simply to perceive yourself as a creator in and of itself. So it's really not about how and what and where. It's not a question. It's a matter of resisting the so-called rules that tell you that you need to understand who you are to create what you can create and at the height at which you can create it. There are no rules. And really, it is a matter of reliving your natural spiritual tendency, which is where you feel at home, at peace, and natural. Where you say, I'm just doing this because I feel that I am understood in this space as a creator, not by anyone else who will validate me. It's not about, oh, let me do this. Will I get likes? Let me do this. Will that be appropriate? Will I do this? Will I be cool? Will I do this? Will people approve and like me and blah, blah. Whatever that happens to mean. Okay. If people are living to like you or not like you, we got a problem. A major problem. And that's going to help make really clear where you sit in fully integrating your own passion. So it's really not about understanding your passion from the lens of, will people appreciate my passion when I do create with it? It's impossible really for anybody to understand you through the lens of themselves as well. And should someone try to give themselves the space, the room to be you, to validate you through their lens, they are not in their power. They are not in their creative space. They are in a codependency energy mantra that allows them to feel that their power comes from that of another, and feeling that another, it may even be feeling differently based on how they see and perceive of their power. So it's kind of like, hopefully clear, but maybe a little bit still abstract. But it is ultimately becoming self-sufficient when it comes to your power, and not saying, well, let me see if me making this change or me doing that or this or the other thing will shift how another person will interact with me. The interactions that you have with others do not define your power in any capacity. Whether or not people like what you do or don't like what you do, it doesn't define your power. It's not about the interaction. It's about the integration of your soul and your spiritual honesty with yourself, your higher self. And sometimes it's something simple, sometimes it may be something that you need time to develop and understand, and there can be stages, there can be different ways in which you understand. Okay. It's not always going to be realistic, I'm hearing that as well, necessarily, something that's obvious. But again, the way you'll know is, am I feeling free and happy? Am I feeling like a creator? Or do I feel this pressure to pursue something very particular and very strategic and feeling, and I think this especially goes out to the part in us maybe that is still feeling super like clingy to society and society's approval and standards. We're trying to understand ourselves within, the lens of the so-called masked identity space projected upon, I'm hearing starseed specifically, as society. When really it's about our understanding of who we are for ourselves. We come before society has come forward. That's what we must remember. We are not here to identify with our spiritual mission within and with the conversation of society. Obviously, okay, this is a general message. I mean, it's not that we're not operating society, but it's about priority. And you can be empathic to the fact that there is a societal expectation space. But you do not need to sympathize with what society has also subtly made you feel you needed to become, has subtly tried to, in some shape or form, encourage you to see yourself as. And yeah, society, we can say, is sort of like this a person. And we have to treat it as that. And we have to realize that it can never tell us who we are. And we should never feel judged by society. So it's about regaining confidence in a space where you don't really have the answers. You don't really have a reason for why you love what you love. That's where you're truly free. I'm hearing it just doesn't have to make sense. And of course that's not convenient for society, because that disrupts the static. It disrupts the power that the white noise has over the creative energies that are otherwise free-flowing, dynamic, untethered. Creative energy, if you try to mold it, if you try to define it, if you try to plan it, it will become completely uncomfortable for yourself and others. And the illusion is that it's better to try and do such a thing for yourself or for another. I'm talking as well to people who have a very strong creative talent, and there's someone trying to mold, shape, reformat, tell you that they know better about you than you know about yourself. That can never be the case. I don't care how so-called successful that individual is, their so-called track record. They'll never understand who you are and where you're going and where you've also come from. That's something that we'll say in human terms, right? So, but people try to understand naturally by way of understanding unnaturally, which is psychologically, logically trying to fit, because it's kind of the laziness of the subconscious, the spiritual mind. There's more pressure to try and figure out, but it is the impulse, unfortunately, of many people to try and categorize and try to label and try to stigmatize and try. But the interesting thing is, the more you try, the less you become one with even what you would possibly possibly understand that space. And so there's an uphill battle, and we're trying to create something out of a space of just understanding. So it's really about unraveling, undoing, and reformatting the mind's priority in relation to that of the spirit and the higher soul. And this is where impulse and the clarity of intention, thank you, is superior to the friction of the mind and the spirit. But it's very sometimes like, well, it's programming, right? Society to make us feel like we need to like kind of like get to the means and make a plan and have a whole situation of a whole strategy, in other words, by which we will understand and find our purpose and feel worthy and feel valued and feel integrated. And that's not the truth. So it's really a matter of releasing, guys. The reason for why we think we've come here, why we think this also called matters, why we think that someone can sit and answer those questions for us. Why should we give the integration point of our power away like that? Or like in many other ways that society has, again, made very convenient to fall into the trend of. And there are many ways that this is. It's very easy to become dependent on society turning the wheels for us of feeling worthy, whole, integrated, and real. But society does not know you as a creator. And that's the important part here. And especially for those who are realizing that they have a higher integrated purpose and that it is something unique. Not feeling truly fulfilled and you're not feeling truly empowered. And then you start to get uncomfortable because you can't speak your truth. Because imagine, okay, let's say that, because it's like, if that is the point, then it's, what is 500 followers? What is 200 followers? What is 200,000? It's just a number, right? If it is a transaction, it's a transaction. If it begins with the thought of a number, it will end like that, and it will be that until you restructure, recharacterize, and recompartmentalize how you integrate and how you place value on numbers. And so if you're focused on numbers, then you will feel numbers, and that will feel very void, and that's why you're uncomfortable about why you're not happy. And you start thinking, do I have some problem here? Like, why can't I feel satisfied? And maybe you're very successful. Maybe this is a metaphor. Maybe the followers this is actually, and maybe this is a training for you as you step into a certain even space of negotiation for some of you. Maybe you're about to, really get into a project here, and you need to rescale the way that you're perceiving of yourself in the space as well. And the credit that you are also giving yourself as a creator. Maybe this is finances. Yeah, your finances are not necessarily your worth and your value. So this is about, rescaling that and saying it doesn't matter. It's not the point. I'm here to feel fulfilled, and nobody can control you like that. Okay? Yeah. I feel some of you may be going into a very heavy debate here. It is about self-empowerment and how conscious you are of what makes you actually feel to draw the line between this and that, and whether or not this is real or that is real, or this is going to be real or that's going to be real. It's not about where things go. It's about the origin point. You feel it, and you know it in your bones the minute that you encounter that space. You'll know, your spirit will know if something is real for you or not. It will never be about figuring it out, understanding it. So don't feel like you also need time to recognize and get down to the so-called point of things. Okay, synergy and true elemental synastry is timeless, spaceless. So, but it can be very convincing, right? And we can really fall back in that space of, it's easy though. Well, like if I get this and I get that, and then, but it's not if, and it's not then, and then when, because that brings you to the space of time and space, which is not your currency as a creator. So it's about, redirecting, renavigating, reestablishing boundaries with the theory and the theme of time and space, realizing that you are already creating right now. You don't need anything to feel more like the creator, okay? Nobody's approval, nobody feel like you want that to be, because that may make you feel, somehow like it's easier, but it's not. Because yet again, let's say that you do receive that sense of approval and gratification, you received it, you did not identify it within yourself, and so it is something conditional, and so you will need more of it, you will need more of it, you will need more of it, you will need to always remember it. Okay, if you forget it, oh no, you'll need to find another way to reflect it back to it so that you can see more of it. And this is not true. This is about reigniting, reconnecting with your soul, and that's between you and you. So it's about reprioritizing, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with another video at some point. Spirit also wanted to bring to attention the concept and the theme of prioritization and knowing what to give your attention to, your energy to. Bye, guys. Love and light. Remember that you're worthy no matter what, because you see your value and your worth.